5. Our house. Here I stood in the driveway of my grandparents' house, where my mother, father, brother, and sister-in-law now lived. The gray-sided and red brick 2-story house with a half-circle driveway sat in a small, older subdivision in a semi-rural area of custom homes situated on 1-acre parcels. My grandparents and great-grandparents had the house built in 1968 and was completed shortly after I was born. So many holidays and memories were from this place. This house held a lot of pain for me as well. Pain I felt from my family breaking their promise. In 2008, I was looking to put my grandparents into a rest home. My whole family had rejected the idea. I had agreed not to put my grandparents into a home, and they had all agreed to help me take care of my grandparents. This is the house where I had the first most memorable spiritual experience of my life. As mentioned previously, I was between the ages of 6 and 8. I was staying with my grandparents and my great-grandmother, as my parents had gone somewhere and left me and my brothers in their care for a weekend or week. Typically, it was the case that all 3 of us kids would sleep together in the magic bed in the downstairs family room. The magic bed was a sofa bed. My grandfather Rudy would play with us kids in a game he called the scissors. Rudy was tall and had long legs. He would get us in the clutches of his legs and squeeze us. It was our thing. For some reason, on this day, I was put up in what used to be my great-grandfather Larry's bedroom. He, too, was a big, tall man, and his bed was so big and lonely. I couldn't sleep, and I was scared. My great-grandmother Gladys was fast asleep in her own room in her own bed. I was the only one up in the house. I didn't want to wake anybody. I was feeling nervous, uneasy, and afraid. My heart was racing, and my palms were sweating. The room felt cold and eerie. I had turned on the lights in the bedroom, hallway, and bathroom. I was standing in the bedroom near the closet and the bedroom door. I physically felt a coldness, as if somebody very big had hugged me. I didn't know what I had just experienced, but at that age, it freaked me out. I stayed up all night long that night. I had gone downstairs and waited for my brothers to wake up. I may have woken them up about the time the sun was coming up. I probably rattled on and on to my brothers about what I had experienced. I probably didn't even think about telling my grandparents, since in my short life I knew that if I told of the things that happened to me, the adults wouldn't believe me. A part of me thought that this was my great-grandfather Larry, who had passed away when I was 5. We had driven to the hospital in Ceres from Fair Oaks in my dad's canary yellow 911 Porsche with the 3 of us kids in the back seat. He was on the verge of passing away. In the car was talk of the impending funeral. I wanted to go to the funeral, but my grandmother Marjorie had already made it clear that there were not to be any children attending. We went into the hospital room, and there he was in the hospital bed. I could see he was very tired, and he looked into my eyes. We were saying goodbye with a look. A lot of people I have discussed death with talk about how when people are dying, they often wait to die until either somebody arrives to say goodbye or when their loved ones have left the room. In this case, I believe that my great-grandfather waited for my father to come and say goodbye. My dad was raised by my great-grandparents for a little while when he was very young. My great-grandfather and my dad had a special bond. Almost instantaneously after we had left the room, my great-grandfather passed away. Throughout my life, I would pick up on a presence in that room, and I knew it was Larry. When my grandmother was dying in the very same house, I felt Larry was in the downstairs living room. I would call out to Larry and tell him that a light portal was going to be opening and that he should go with her when she passed away. She passed away, but his presence remained. I had no idea why he stayed. After Rudy passed, we were remodeling the house. Alex was in Larry's old room working. Alex was 15, and when he came out of that room, I knew by the look on his face, he was freaked out. He told me he felt something creepy in there, and it scared him. I think I laughed out loud. I calmly asked him if what he was feeling was in the entire room or was it only in a certain spot. He said it was a certain spot, so I asked him to show me exactly where he was working. He was reluctant to go back into the room, but I was able to get him to show me where the spot was. It was the very same spot where I had stood when I had my first encounter with Larry from the other side. I had never told my children about my experiences in that room, or that I had the ability to sense ghosts. It didn't help Alex to feel any more comfortable about working in that room. In fact, it probably freaked him out even more. I tried to do the work in that room myself. The plywood subflooring was exposed, and there were some stains on the wood that I couldn't determine if it was blood or wood stain. The house had been built at a time when cabinetry was built on site. I was feeling uneasy about this presence and debating whether it had been Larry at all. The land that the house was built on had been part of the McHenry property at the turn of the century. The McHenry family were a very prominent family who owned many acres where they had a chicken farm. The original McHenry house still stands nearby my grandparents' home. I thought that maybe something heinous had happened on the land prior and that I was picking up on some other presence and not that of my Larry. In my head, I had a few conversations with these presences and banished them, along with any others, from the property. I had a few conversations with them asking them to leave. Finally, within a couple of weeks, I felt that they were gone.